Xiaomi's Android One series have traditionally been great buys. They sport excellent cameras, a stellar chip inside, and stock Android goodness. Now the third gen Android One from Xiaomi is here. I've used it as my primary for a little over a week. And how did it hold up? Is the Mi A3 worth considering? Well, that's what we aim to find out in today's video. Hey guys, I'm Ash, you're watching C4E Tech, and if you do end up liking what you're seeing with my videos, please don't forget to turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon. And by the way, this Mi A3, I'm giving it away. If you've not entered the giveaway yet, there's information in the description, do check that out. First, from a build standpoint, the Mi A3, it's a huge upgrade. It is easily the best looking A series phone yet. There's Gorilla Glass 5 to the front and back. The one to the back, it's 3D glass, meaning it curves to the sides, making it easy to hold. The back itself, with that triple cameras and all, it looks fabulous. I like the smoky look Xiaomi's gone for here. Like with the Redmi Note 7, we have plastic between the glass, but that doesn't really take away much. The A3 looks gorgeous and it also feels premium in hand. It's quite narrow too, and that combined with the 175 gram weight makes this a dream to use single-handed. So Xiaomi's kind of delivered there. Now from a design standpoint, the A3 has a couple of advantages over its predecessor. Xiaomi have brought back the headphone jack, yay, that's awesome. And there's also support for microSD which is returned. Now that said, the headphone jack output, it wasn't anything special, it was average at best, and that was kind of disappointing, especially given that the Mi A1 had exceptional headphone output. Now, talking about audio, the single downwards firing speaker, it was pretty loud. Cellular reception, call quality, I had no issues with either. Now to the front, the A3 sports an HD Plus panel. Yes, the resolution has taken a hit after 2 generations of Full HD. Why downgrade to HD Plus? Now that is a confusing decision. That said, this is not a bad panel. Xiaomi has actually gone with Super AMOLED this time, so it's richer with punchier colors. This also happens to be a bright panel, so using the A3 outdoors, it was not an issue at all. By the way, this is a 6-inch panel with a 19.5 by 9 aspect ratio. The bezels are also quite slim and there's only a tiny little notch up top where the selfie camera is located. So the screen to body ratio, that was pretty high. Now talking about that selfie camera, this here is a 32 megapixel shooter. It captures well detailed images with natural skin tones. The edge detection is good too with the portrait shots. They came out nice. Now to the back, the Mi A3 has 3 cameras. The first one, what else do you expect? The 48 megapixel Sony IMX586 with an f1.79 lens. Now this is an identical setup to what we find on the Note 7 Pro. The performance is kind of similarly good. There's ample detail. Now check out the veins of the leaf in this shot, or in this shot, the petals of the flower. The dynamic range is also quite good. Now like all IMX586 implementations, this one shoots 12 megapixels by default too. If you switch to the 48 megapixel mode, you get a little bit more detail. Now, there is also a 2 megapixel depth sensor which does fairly well with regards to edge detection. Note that the portraits for some reason come out a tiny bit underexposed. You notice it especially when you look at the regular and portrait shots side by side. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it is still worth a mention. Talking about what's worth mentioning, the A3 does let you change the amount of background blur, and that's always a nice option to have. Then there is an 8 megapixel ultrawide. It does lose out on detail like most ultrawides, and the dynamic range could have been better, but at the end of the day, it is one sensor more than what other phones have to offer in this segment. And ultrawide shots, they do add a unique perspective, a little bit of flair, so I'm happy that it's here. Under low light, there is a dedicated night mode, but it works only for the primary sensor. This helps get usable shots that would be good for social media sharing. It's fine, the shots are fine as long as you don't punch in. And even if you're not punching in, there's quite a bit of noise as you can see, especially noticeable in the night sky. Now though this is an Android One device, remember the camera software is entirely Xiaomi, but barring that one app, almost everything else is left stock. The Mi A3 comes with the bare basics, and there are no ads, which is always a huge positive for a Xiaomi phone. Now, the app selection is very basic that even something like the Mi remote controller, which is required to make use of that IR Blaster up top, that's not preloaded, you have to download it from the Play Store. That said, there is support for face unlock, which was quite fast and snappy, and given the presence of an AMOLED panel, Xiaomi have included an under-the-display fingerprint scanner. That was fast and mostly accurate. The user experience here with Android Pie on the Mi A3 was good. Whether I was just checking socials or watching a video, playing a game, using the browser, everything felt snappy. The A3 was super responsive. Now this is not just due to the software, but also because of the hardware underneath. The A3 is powered by the Snapdragon 665 chip that's built on the 11nm FinFET process. Now, this is an octa-core chip using 8 Trio 260 cores. It does better than the Snapdragon 660, but not quite as well as the 675 on the Note 7 Pro. There is 4 gigs of RAM, 64 or 128 gigs of UFS 2.1 storage. On the GPU side of things, we have Adreno 610 here, but it only gets to deal with an HD Plus display, so it seems to be powerful enough to run even intensive titles. There might be a couple of frame drops here or there, but for the most part, every game we tried, it was very much playable. Now, one area where Xiaomi's Android One phones have usually faltered, now that would have to be with battery life. Now, does the A3 change that? Yes and no. Okay, let me explain. The A3 sports a 4030 mAh battery. Now, given the 6-inch HD Plus AMOLED panel, the 11nm Snapdragon 665, I went in expecting it to do better than the Redmi Note 7 Pro, which has a larger, higher resolution LCD display. LCDs are supposed to consume more battery than AMOLEDs, and higher the resolution, higher the battery consumption, and the processor on the Note 7 Pro is also more powerful, the 675. But the A3 doesn't fare better than the Note 7 Pro. In fact, it lasts about 10 to 15% shorter or lesser than the Note 7 Pro. Now, that's not to say you're gonna have bad battery life here. The Note 7 Pro has excellent battery life. The A3 is a little above good. So you'd easily get a full day on a single charge, even with intense usage, but don't expect to get into day 2 or get through day 2. Now, if you need to charge back up, there is support for 18-watt Quick Charge 3.0, but it's only Quick Charge 3.0. The A2, if I can recall, had Quick Charge 4, so that's a little bit, and again, it's 18 watts, so no big complaints here. It does ship with a 10-watt charger in the box only, just like the Note 7 Pro. So overall, with the Mi A3, we've got a phone that's mostly an upgrade over the A2. Xiaomi has brought back microSD and the headphone jack. The build is definitely an improvement with Gorilla Glass 5. The regular battery concerns have been addressed. We have triple cameras and an excellent selfie camera. The Snapdragon 665 is definitely a step up from the 660 on the A2, and Xiaomi's even thrown in an in-display fingerprint scanner. Now, except the display resolution, in all ways the Mi A3 seems to be a solid upgrade over the Mi A2. But yes, like with most of my videos, there is a but here. When the Mi A1 came out, the top Redmi Note phone was the Redmi Note 4. The A1 had much better cameras. It had the same chip, 625, and it was priced a little higher. Now, with the A2, the top note at that point was the Redmi Note 5 Pro. The A2 had a better chip, the Snapdragon 660 compared to the 636. The cameras were also much better. Now, this time around though, the top note is the Note 7 Pro. The A3 does not have as good a chip inside. It takes a resolution hit. It still has AMOLED and the triple cameras going for it, yes, but in the past the A1 and A2 were outright better than the Redmi Notes at that time. But this time around the A3 isn't better. Now that would be okay if the A3 came in cheaper, but going by the European pricing, the A3 debuted at the same price as the A2 when it launched. So we are expecting this to come into India at 17,000 rupees. Now, even if Xiaomi decided to be a little more competitive, bring it in at 16 or even 15,000 rupees, it still is not as good value as the Note 7 Pro. But if you just look at the A3 as an Android One phone, it's got no ads, it's got vanilla Android with excellent cameras and a good chip inside, then the A3 might be worth it for you. Else, there are other options, not just the Note 7 Pro, but other options from other brands as well in this segment. So there you go, my 2 cents on the Mi A3. Do you agree with what I've had to say here? Do you agree with my conclusion? Do you think Xiaomi should have done more with the A3, or are you satisfied with what's been offered? Let me know in the comments below. And with that, we get to the end of this review. Give it a thumbs up or thumbs down based on whatever you felt about it. Both are okay, just click one of those 2 buttons. And also subscribe and turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. Again, another reminder, I am giving away this Mi A3 information. To enter the giveaway in the description, so do check it out. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.